Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a warm welcome to the In Case You Missed It podcast. This is the only place where we bring you up to speed with everything and anything that has been happening during the week in 254 and, of course, all over the world. My name is Jambi Gaido.
My name is Raymond Muthe.
And my name is Stacey Maina.
Yes, and where can they find this podcast?
Most definitely. www.standardmedia.co.ke and /podcasts. Sawa. And at Standard Digital on Facebook, Insta, at Standard Kenya on Twitter, at Standard Digital on TikTok. Now to follow, manze.
Yes, make sure that you follow us on all, across all the platforms.
Yeah.
Yes, and also follow KTN News.
At KTN News KE everywhere.
Yes, Stacey, you're silent.
No, I'm just waiting for
Stacey ajui handles.
Hiya, let's get right into it. So the president made some very major remarks this week. The first thing that he said is that over 40,000 families or people who were displaced by the floods will receive a compensation of 10,000 Kenyan shillings each. So the question is this money enough? And the other question is, will everybody who has been affected by the floods get this money?
Yeah, that's actually the most delicate question. Will everyone get the money? Those 40,000 plus people, will they all get the 10,000? And I hear the 10,000 is to help them move to
better places.
Yeah, or better houses to stay or something. I don't really think it's really enough.
Hata mi sidhani ni enough, considering these are people who had settled. They had their lives. They had their lives in order until that particular moment a natural calamity occurred. I don't think 10,000 shillings is enough na hii economy, first of all. But I mean,
it's a start.
It's a start. Exactly, it's a start.
It's a start.
Yeah.
It's a
and
start.
10,000 can't do in the economy we are currently living in. 10,000 is pesa kidogo.
Also, I think even if the government was to give 100,000 shillings to every victim, it still wouldn't be enough.
Yeah.
So this is probably a good start. So what is important is how the government will support them through that transition, the availability of land, the availability of material. Hiyo tu throughout the process. Walisema watajenga mashule zilikuwa zimespoil. What facilitated the burials of those when you pass. So all that into perspective.
But for the burial, I think they were specific, the Mai Mahiu victims. I don't know about the others. And the Mai Mahiu victims, I think they were 60.
Yeah, actually, just around that number so far. So if you put all this into perspective, it's really not about what the government is doing now. It is about what the government will do throughout the whole process.
Sure.
Kwa sababu pia, we are still not out of the woods in terms of rains.
Yeah.
The rains have started quite early this year. Normally one is June, July hapo.
And they are not rains like these rains that you're experiencing right now.
So there are regions.
Are too much.
See, Met Department imesema kuna regions zenye bado zita expect some more rain throughout until late July. So you expect kama ni place ilikuwa imeflood, definitely kama kutanyesha, that means it is an area that cannot be settled in until around maybe end of July huko.
And speaking of the floods, we've seen some areas, they're calling them the riparian areas.
Yes, riparian land.
The riparian lands, and people are being evacuated from such areas.
Yeah.
And so there was an interesting discussion this morning on Morning Prime. Some of the leaders were saying that there's Mathare and then there's Karen. And some of these areas have already been marked as the riparian lands.
Yeah.
But now the people in Mathare are being evacuated. And then there's this other group of people in Karen who are intact at their homes. The UN has been affected, and they were provided with boats to maneuver around their areas. So why as in the issue of Wakenya na wana Kenya,
Yeah.
So wait, watu wenye wako Karen, what is the level of damage to their homes? What is the level of damage that has happened there?
But I think the fact is that they are on riparian land.
I get you now. I missed that point. So there has been no demolitions whatsoever. There have been no displacement whatsoever
so far. We don't know what might happen after this podcast. But so far we've not seen
akuja kuwa na any movement as in watu wenye wako wanakaa hizo areas hawajaambiwa nyinyi by the hameni.
Watu wa Karen wangeambiwa hivyo cause for them it's much easier maybe
for
to
them
move
to move
to other places and something. But watu wa Mathare waliambiwa venye wao kutoka jana. I saw a video trending, tractors zilikuwa tu zinafanya tu pop manyumba za watu.
Niliona the church that killed one guy.
And also a kid that died. And also the other question was our watu wa Karen, if they will be told to evacuate, pia wao watapewa the 10,000 shillings.
Ahai.
I think it's
wajinga bwana.
I think that one, that's why I'm saying it's what the government will do throughout the whole process. So beyond even the 10,000 bob that they will be given, the government needs to, they are still Kenyan citizens anyway, and they still belong here. Even if they are not, they still belong to this country. Now get by the fact that walikuwa still in the it's kama Runda, the barabara ya kwenda Runda ilifungwa. Those are still Kenyans and they also serve this country in different areas, in different respects.
First should deal with the people in the slums.
The majority.
Yeah.
Who are the majority anyway.
The people in the slums.
Alafu unajua
tufike huko Karen Runda.
It's interesting kwa sababu mimi nikiangalia from a perspective ya what happens to this land that now the government has evicted people from. So do we demolish the structures there and then what? Kwa sababu remember the demolitions in Athi River. You remember the demolitions in Athi River? Hazikuwa juu ya floods. But now the land is just sitting idle. Nothing. So
what was the plan?
Exactly, that's my question.
How long has it taken?
What it was around last year lini. Towards mwanzo ama katikati hapo. I can't remember the months really.
Nakumbuka hiyo demolitions. Zilikuwa so hurtful.
Hizo demolitions. As in kulikuwa na demolitions going on over the country. But hizo zingine zilikuwa, they wanted to create space for the affordable housing. So I don't know if that will, okay, let's just see how this moves from here.
Wacha tuone, but I'm interested to see what the government will do with the land that is now being claimed to be riparian. I don't know if they will create waterways for the water to follow its natural course. Another question is, if flood water yote, do we have a point of collection and maybe how do we make use of these floods? Kwa sababu sio maji yote yenye inakuja saizi ni mbaya. There is water that is sweeping people, but there is water like the dam that burst its banks inaitwa nini? The Seven Forks. It is overflowing with water. What are the plans in place to see that the extra water, if I could call it, it doesn't go to waste? Kwa sababu Kenya is in dire need of water.
Yeah,
actually,
literally.
There are reports that says that in few months to come we'll be suffering from drought and lack of food. So what measures are we taking into place right now? And seeing that now the CS for Agriculture is under grill right now, as in what is he doing?
Fun fact, the government, we have a soil health and fertility conference. Actually, I think soil and fertilizer. I can't remember the name clearly, but it falls under that nini. The CS left the grilling, went and addressed the conference, and went back to the grilling.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Karibu Kenya.
Manze. But pia, the government, I think the government has been put to test on this one. Hey.
Pia Azimio wanawapeleka, wanaambia 10,000 is not enough. We need you guys to give these people at least 100,000. You know, and also they want to Azimio people want this declared as a calamity, a disaster. Yeah.
So if you do the quick math, there are 100,000 shillings for 40,000
over.
Let's see 40,000 for this one. So 100,000 would be times 40,000. How much? 4 billion.
4 billion.
So that would be 4 billion shillings.
Quick math.
4 billion shillings to na saizi wanatumia 40 million. Sindio saizi wanatumia 40 million because they giving 10,000 shillings to 40,000 people. Anyway, wacha niachane na the nitty-gritties of the government mathematics.
But because they are natural calamity, imefanya watu waseme finally Raila ameongea. He's been so silent for I think too long.
There's been a lot of speculation about his silence.
Oh, but
the AUC chairmanship.
Yeah.
Then there's just a lot going on. Let's just move on from that, but still on the same.
Yeah.
I was talking about how some of the remarks that the president made during the week, and he had last week he had pushed the reopening of the schools to a later date, and finally he has confirmed that the schools will open on the 13th
of May.
Monday.
Yes, that is
Another very touchy topic, very sticky, kwa sababu schools are reopening fine. How about those that were swept?
Yeah.
There are even controversies because I heard there are some schools which are already they are flooded to the brim. So submerged.
Marooned.
Others are marooned, So the parents are asking, how will our children go to school? That's a debate.
It is a very sticky issue hiyo kwanza, because if I look, I mean, hata kuna picha zilikuwa zinatumwa because we receive photos from correspondents. Hey, a school that is yote ni ya matope, so shule ya matope and then iende chini ya maji for like a whole week, iko tu chini ya maji. There is no structure there bana. Hakuna structure, and you see 90%, okay, tuseme hata 90%, tuseme hata 70% of the schools that are public, the state of public schools in Kenya, there's constituencies that have, that's why the president gave the powers to the NGCDF team to finance and rebuild schools, but the other things they've been doing with the CDF. But look at it this way, most 70% of schools, I was gonna say, they use pit latrines. So what happens to a pit latrine when there is floods? In a jar, what happens to the water that then goes downstream and the infections that could be carried by that water? We are talking about cholera. We are talking about
cholera has been on the rise.
All those things, and then someone comes and says we are going to experience drought and lack of water. So if you put all that in perspective, we are possibly going to shift from one disaster to another. So that's why I'm saying it is not about what the government is doing now. It is really about what the government is doing throughout the whole crisis.
I think this. Okay. Should I go first? Okay. This crisis, I think, has been an eye opener, not only for the government but also for people.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute you could have everything, and then the next you have nothing. 1 minute you could be healthy, and then the next, Preparedness pia
is a big deal hapa kwa sababu we are clearly not ready for this. Nimeona Dubai, they've rebuilt their lives and they're going on with life. Kwanza wao walikuwa magari zilikuwa submerged, they couldn't even buy the whole economy of this country. It's like unakuta G-Wagon kama 50, the dealerships because zilikuwa submerged underwater. Hey, my lord. And they have announced that they are going to build an airport worth $3.5 billion.
Exactly.
Do you know how much? Hey, sawa tu.
It's good to accept where we are.
Hey, that's a lot of money.
As a country.
So even as a country, we can't excuse some of the mistakes we make. Like for instance, JKIA, that's a very basic issue. If we can afford to renovate the State House for over 700 million shillings.
And we can't repair.
The priorities. Sometimes the priorities are just upside down.
Sometimes the priorities are upside down. Because saizi, some of the capitation that enye schools inapata, kunafaa tu kuwa na hard stand. Because now, can you imagine saizi tukienda tena kurebuild shule and then there will be some corruption somewhere. Mtu ana-supply ile. It looks very ugly even when you say it.
I wanted to say also at the course of last week nilisikia private schools ati walikuwa wanataka kwenda, they go ahead and open their schools. Ati public ndio wasifungue venye president alisema schools is open, private
I think that's unfair.
It is.
Mkuje cause
and some parents actually really complain.
Ni makosa by the way.
It's money making.
Alafu pia all together still unajua it feels bad when you put these same students a few years from now they'll be competing for the same jobs. So you're putting them at a disadvantage just because they went to public schools, which is education is a right, as basic right in the constitution. So I think that's unfair, and it was really wrong for some schools to do that.
It was. We have so many topics to cover today, and maybe as we close up on the issue of floods, So we know about the Maimahio massacre.
Tragedy.
Yeah, tragedy.
Massacre is something totally different.
I just thought about massacre and I'm like, oh, it was not a massacre.
COO.
So the Maimahio tragedy that killed at least 60 people, confirmed dead, and so many others are unaccounted for. And so CS Kithure Kindiki has announced that the government will cover for the burial cost of those who died. And at least today we saw Rigathi Gachagua, who was among the leaders that paid their respect to and some of the people were buried today. I think throughout this week and over the weekend, we'll see more burials of these people. And also on the same point, the president also announced or gazetted that 10th of May will be a day to honor those people who died during the floods. I don't know what you guys have to say about that.
And we'll plant trees. So Kenya, please tupande miti.
Unajua,
just don't take it as a normal holiday.
You guys are seeing tree planting. Some other people are seeing the IMF is in town, the International Monetary Fund. And you see President Ruto has been a huge champion of climate change. He's looking very nice and Pan-African huko. Sema mambo ya climate change and carbon credits. So people are speculating that because the IMF is in town, there's I think a conference or something. IMF, there's so many heads of international institutions, financial institutions that will be coming together. So there had to be something to make Kenya look like a climate fast thing. So people are speculating that. And people are bringing attention to the fact that the government could be diverting attention from CS Linturi's impeachment, the lack of preparedness in the reopening of schools. So even as we do that, let us think about all the other things that are happening. In fact, yesterday, there was the effective of 1.5. By this, it called only 1 month away from filing returns. Kuna 1.5% housing levy. Imekuwa implemented jana. And it just went silently. Nobody.
It's not as silent as...
It is actually very silent. I've been looking at trends the whole night and today morning. Nothing.
No noise. I think the media has tried to cover it, but
no, people will not talk about it because
one of the headlines or one of the stories that were making headlines today was why you are likely to pay more rent.
Yeah.
Na sasa, that is just one of the
things that
ukumbuke this housing levy ilikuwa very controversial. So now it is no longer hearsay, it is now in law and it has now been effected. Sasa mtakuwa mna just I think we'll be doing a series of that on the website as well as the paper. So you guys watch out for that.
Anyway, in other news, finally, for the first time in a long time, we are talking about the end of doctor strike.
Hey, after 56
days is a month and a half.
Kila time tukikuja podcast, doctors wame-strike. What is the government doing? But finally, the government and MPDU, after discussions and negotiations, after hours and hours, finally, wali come to an agreement. Strike ikaisha. Doctors, sijui kama wameanza kazi, but I believe wanafaa kuwa wameanza kazi. Yeah.
So some of the pending issues was, I don't know if they tackled the issues on interns.
No, they did
but
not.
They didn't specify even what really they talked about. They specified.
There's we actually got the documents this morning. So I've not seen the documents myself, but I believe other editors have seen them. So watakuwa wanapitia alafu.
I think sasa tutakuwa tunawapea my exclusives.
They'll be breaking it down. There's some very interesting bits because the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers has said they have nothing on the table for them. Na unakumbuka it's funny how when the organizations are rallying, wakati they were doing pressers as KMPDU, Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, Kenya Union of Medical Laboratory, iko ito kumlo, Kenya Union of Medical Laboratory Officers, Kenyan Union of Nurses. All these organizations are coming together, but who on the table, nani ametoka na kitu? KMPDU. So at the end of the day, alafu unajua pia I think
but now walikuwa make it clear that they are not striking because of influence. By the way, walikuwa wameulizwa hiyo swali as in KMPDU came out first and then all these other
wakaanza kujoin.
But
Yeah.
sasa wakaulizwa, is it because of this? We also have our grievances. We're also raising our grievances. Sasa wamerudi tu kazi wote.
I mean nangoja kuona hizo reports. I'll be looking at them
know.
tonight nione kama ntanini I'll be able to comprehend anything, but now it's under seal, so hiyo imeenda.
So on to another story that has been trending this week. A 5-story building in Uthiru collapsed. You saw that
Was it
story?
actually collapsing or sinking?
Bwana ilikuwa hiyo hata
I don't
siwezi
know how
heri
practical
kucollapse
that
bana.
is.
Ama siheri kucollapse hiyo can you imagine you're in bed and then unasikia ni kama you are
unasikia
lowering in
Unaingia
earth.
chini.
Ni kama unaota.
Imagine being on like it is a 5-story being on the 5th
Kama
floor.
unaota, exactly.
Exactly, ni
Venye
kama
tu
unaota
mnasikianga kiatu.
venye
Hey,
unaimagine
bana.
inasonga chini.
But I think
But imagine the fortunate thing, it was reported by authorities that there were no victims.
there were no casualties.
Yeah.
Hiyo na sasa hapo kai.
Because I think that would have been very tragic.
It would.
Hapo ndo
Kwa sababu-
tunasemanga bahati ya mtende.
I've heard people say that the building had been marked. This is here, so
Yeah.
don't quote me. That the
Sure.
building had been marked and then it had been repainted. Sasa ikimakiwa kwanza hata wacha hivyo. There's a post I saw on social media. I don't know how true that is. But walikuwa nasema ati there's a building we see how they usually write X. NCA, National Construction Authority. Wamemark na red. Huyo jamaa akakuja akapaka gate na red. So every time they mark hawawezi ona.
Oh,
You
so
saw that?
the-
Happens. Mi
No,
naonanga
but not
manyumba
for this-
nyingi
So risky.
zimepaintiwa.
Not for this particular building, for another building I saw on social media. This one I don't know.
Zingine mi naonanga zimepaintiwa and then after some time unapata hakuna. So either they do that thing you're saying of painting.
And it's
'Cause
very
wanaekanga
unfortunate.
makasi kubwa kumbe they know what they are doing. But Kenyans
But-
go ahead, build and leave.
Alafu the building had been there. It looks decent to me. It looks something
Very
that
modern.
Yeah,
Lakini-
and it's 35,000 per month
ebu
for a
imagine
2-bedroom.
and I think the building looks okay, but what is underneath is probably what we could not see in terms of structural integrity. So poleni kwa wenye wote wenye wamekuwa affected na hiyo,
Yeah.
but this one calls for, and I think pia in fact the committee, there's a committee of the Nairobi City County that suspended, the committee that is in charge of approving and checking the standard of buildings wamekuwa suspended by the city county because of approval of non-compliant buildings, or so they call them. So it's interesting to see how this one goes as well. Kimani Mbogo was here.
After he recovered.
Now he was looking so nice and so healthy.
He was smelling so nice as well.
He was looking very sharp, very unajua in his element. Kwanza oh my god, when he speaks English. Oh my
ana
lord.
flow.
Fluent.
Hey.
And he's very conversational.
You are
As in-
lucky to see him.
Ah,
That's
kizungu
why I
yake.
met him.
Yeah.
Kizungu
Because
yake
me
is
now
just
I've met
nice.
the side of him here, social media.
I wish you can meet this guy in person.
Yeah, this guy in person is just fantabulous. As in alikuwa poa.
You can tell he's intelligent. As in you can tell. by
'Cause
just
we also-
having a conversation with
I
him.
am not sure. Unaona hiyo pesa yenye anaitisha hapo kwa nini? And there's a day I tried to
I'm
call
telling
him
you,
akuwa
there's
na
something bad.
hakuwa anashika simu, try call. But hiyo pesa yenye alikuwa anasema sijui who owes me money sijui for what nini.
Elon Musk.
No, there's a guy alikuwa na mention jina hapo. Could be from the marketing company he runs. He runs a marketing company. The last I checked alikuwa na run poa, ilikuwa sawa. And he used to do gigs, he used to do videos on TikTok. Can you imagine alikuwa na videos 4 peke yake. At the last time alikuwa anafanya videos and they were doing so well. Huyu ni mtu angefikisha hata 1 million subscribers in no time. People were really, really interested in his content. And he was doing just something simple as niaje, have you ever hugged your dad? Something
niliona
very-
hizo
broken
videos.
news.
Something off the nini. But now it seems he's not okay again because ameenda on social media and we are seeing videos of him even issuing threats of if you don't give me my money I'm going to finish you. Sijui who. There's a video I saw of him saying that he had been neglected at Mathare and he's not going back there.
Yeah.
For his parents. He has actually called so many people. There's also another video where he says, okay, he's just in the video, he's just like so angry and his eyes have popped out and something. And then on the caption, he has written, "So you gave me AIDS you knew that you had AIDS and gave me AIDS, and as in you didn't tell me. So like that is why he was that angry.
Or unajua sasa pia we can't understand. Unajua it's difficult because for mental illness it is not like an illness unaona kabisa my leg is broken. It is something that you, unless you're a psychologist, it would take you so much time to understand and so much effort to even think in the capacity that someone is thinking. So if for sure it is mental illness, it is very unfortunate.
But I heard, like he said, it's about his mental health that's disturbing him. He's not trying to get numbers or attention and everything.
Because he definitely has the numbers, with or without the mental illness.
After he told Kenyans that, Kenyans have tried to
kuchanga
him,
to
na
try and...
imefika 420,000.
My only question
plus.
Is, what is the motive of kuchanga? What exactly are we trying to achieve? This guy does not want to go back to hospital.
Maybe he wants to go maybe to a better hospital because he said Mathare wasn't the place for him. No,
he was taken to another hospital by his parents after he wasn't taken back
Thika what?
It was actually a very decent school. I saw some of the videos that he used to share while in there, and that was a very decent place.
And I think pia watu wanachanga because of the video yenye anasema mwenye ako na deni yake send money to 07. He's saying his number, so maybe kuna mtu anatuma cause anataka ilipe hiyo deni anateta, na maybe kuna mwenye anatuma cause anataka imsaidie kumlipia, cause I hear this mental whatever, they're expensive.
Na pia dawa. He has bipolar disorder. He has made it public. He told me. So I'm not since telling you he has
2020.
He has had bipolar.
Yeah. Some of the people who have actually come out to...
By the way, that's true. I've seen them. I've seen them comments zao watu wenye wamenini
wakona
bipolar disorder.
Yeah, but I was not going to say that. I was going to say
my bad.
Nilikuwa niseme some of Kenyan celebrities who have come out to say that they are going to try and help Kimani Mbugua. Bina being one of them. Actually, he has called out to men to try and cover one of their own. So we're also hoping to see how that goes.
Yeah, sure.
Let's wait and see how that goes. As well as the story of Eliud Kipchoge, world marathon great. The man who said that no man is limited.
No one is limited. No human
after running
is
for 1 hour and 59 minutes.
Hey, jamani.
Hey, that's a record. Hey, that's a record. And the only guy who was going to beat that record was Kelvin Kiptum.
May his soul rest in peace.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's definitely resting in peace wherever he is. He did serve his time. So, Eliud was in an interview with BBC and came out and said, and we used to, we all deal with social media, so we used to see all these trolls about, in fact, on the day that we broke that news, because we were the ones who broke it.
The first ones.
People were saying, especially after Eliud came out and said, oh, we didn't expect this legend to go in the way he did. Hey, that is when the people descended on him.
But you know, as in, okay, let me just be the devil's advocate here, and I'm not trying to troll anyone. So
we had not even stated the problem.
Oh, sorry.
Tuko tunasema Eliud has come out and said that he had been trolled for the death of Kelvin Kiptum and been blamed vibaya, and people were casting blame on him for absolutely no reason.
He was actually living, yani ile unaishi umejificha because you don't know what can happen to you and your family next. He said that.
It was sad. Okay, so I was to say, you know, as in when Kevin broke the record, when he broke Kipchoge's record, like we also posted that we congratulated him, and people were actually waiting for Kipchoge to congratulate this guy. Like we were there waiting for him, and I remember wondering why is he not congratulating him. And then there was a pseudo account that actually congratulated Kiptum. Yeah. And so, as in, I actually sent that link to you and said, hey, finally, Kipchoge mem congratulate. But on his main account, he said nothing. But also that is okay because, you know, you have the liberty to congratulate whoever you want to, and you have the liberty to not congratulate. You know,
and
this
maybe
is
he congratulated him in
person. Like, we don't know what happened after that. Yeah. But immediately Kiptum died, Kipchoge put that out on his socials. And so, I think this troll started from when he was alive. You never showed us this love. You never showed him his flowers. But now he's dead.
You're the first one to post.
Fact check though, he actually did congratulate Kiptum in a past interview, a TV interview. But actually nobody took that into consideration. He actually said, in fact, alisema, if anyone breaks my record, I'll not be surprised. And if Kiptum does it, I'm not surprised. As in, for him, it was never about him.
About the competition.
Yeah. As in, he was hopeful that this record will inspire someone somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's a sticky issue, though.
It is. So, yeah, during the interview, he said that he had hoped to, like, break the records continuously. Like he knew that he had already broken this record, but he wanted it to be like he has broken over like 6 records with no interference, with no nothing. But now, after everybody started blaming him for the death of Kiptum, he said it took a toll on his mental health and made some of the races that he would lose, he felt he wasn't even prepared enough for those races.
Hey.
So cyberbullying, it really affects people.
It does.
You see, for real, like ilikuwa too general interview, and then you see a man starting to break down.
Cyberbullying is really
ilikuwa kitu deep than even what he's talking about.
It's a pandemic. Hey, people are dying out here because other people told them not so very nice things about things that they should actually be proud about.
Sure.
And I think for Kipchoge, the fastest man in the world. Do you know what that means? Out of 7 point something billion people, wewe tu
ndio unaweza kimbia kwa hizo dakika.
Yani mpaka a shoe company, a very big, in fact one of the largest shoe company in the world, takes their time, takes their money and their space to build you a statue, a whole body. I don't think people, I think in Kenya we don't treat them, and that's another conversation. We don't treat them as with high regard as we should. I feel like athletes and other sportsmen in this country and other people who make this country proud should take the position of politicians and get all those rewards and all those state commendations and all those nice things that politicians get, because politicians are just mere servants. Well, these are people who have taken the country to very, very great heights in terms of like hata kuconsider kukuja kufanya sponsorships huku. Imagine kama, can you imagine even you are being featured in movies that Kenya is the fastest country? You know, such things are things that we should not take lightly, but unfortunately we do. And now this has led into these small funny trolls here and there about Kelvin Kiptum.
In fact, that as in, it's just us against us. It's not that it's the world against Kenya. It's just a Kenyan athlete against, as in, they are both Kenyans. We should like be there for them, praise them and whatever. But we're the ones breaking them down. Yeah.
It's unfortunate because it goes to show you that there needs to be probably a review of the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act to, I don't know, either an implementation or a review. One of them is nigh. I mean, how can it get to such levels? And unakumbuka, sijui kama you guys remember that President Uhuru Kenyatta was chased out of Twitter by trolls. He even deactivated his account and left Twitter. Saizi the account running is the office of the former president. Now I don't even think he usually goes there to check. But President Ruto has been lucky enough to brace the crowds and he's one of the most followed personalities in Africa actually.
Yeah.
And I think for him it's different, but it's unfortunate. And we all encounter that because we all run social accounts here. In fact, our job here is to just run social media accounts. So you see all these things. People will say nasty things. Sometimes we make errors on our tweets. By the way, we make errors on our tweets. We're also human. Mtu anauliza kama kwani mwenye liposti ni mlevi. What that was? Jai make error wewe mtu na Githeri media. Ati ndio amemaliza kupika.
And you'd think that because this is not your personal account that it wouldn't affect you.
No,
but
it
now
does.
the thought that you're the one who made this error, as much as the world doesn't know, you know.
Yeah, mnyenye mmoja you should respect.
Are you sure?
You're a respectable media house. You should respect your space, not misinforming people. Hey. And you
Kenyans are
see,
just so prepared to bash
sometimes
you.
we just
Na times
convey.
hata unaenda unaangalia person mwenye ame make the most nasty comment akona like 20 followers and you're like sasa hii ni
Ama he
sweet
just
doll ama it's somebody who just wants to bring you down.
Yeah.
But the online space, we
Ogopa.
hiyo inataka mtu with hiyo inataka mtu with the courage and the heart. But to Kipchoge, I think it is not every day that everybody will celebrate you. But all in all, there is need for creation of a safe space.
This podcast was supposed to take at least 30 minutes. I don't know how long we have gone. So I think this is
We are done.
a very good point to wrap this up. So much has
Yep.
been happening during the week, and we are looking out for anything else that might happen over the weekend and of course during the week. And we will be here next week, same place, same time, to keep you up to date with that. But until then, see you.
Kwaheri, you guys. I'm at _Raymond on social media platforms.
You had to say that.
Bwana mi nataka followers. Follow me at _Raymond on all social media platforms. Remember to follow at Standard Digital on Facebook, Insta and TikTok. At Standard Kenya is on Twitter. www.standardmedia.co.ke/podcasts is where you're getting this podcast from, and we are glad you could join us. Have a lovely one.
Yeah, and if you stayed this long, if you're here till now, we love you. Bye.
Second week of May, second holiday. Have a good holiday.
Hey.
Happy tree planting day.